Hello and welcome to Get to Know Them podcast. This is a podcast in which I'm gonna talk with some of the world's highest performers in order to learn more about them. I'm your host, Ken Shurigoy. I hope you enjoy. Hi, who do we get to know today?
Densa.
And who is Sul? What do you do?
So I am a 20-year-old triathlete from Ljubljana, Slovenia. Um, I've started doing triathlon, let's say, around 8 years ago now. And yeah, I started just really as uh, as to something to do besides school, just to go there, meet some friends, and just be active. Like as a kid, I was not that active at all. Like I preferred reading books. So yeah, I just wanted to do triathlon to find out how it looks like. And yeah, then I fell in love with it. And so yeah, this is my 8th year now doing triathlon. I've gotten better and better every single year now. And yeah, here we are now.
That's very interesting. You
Yeah.
said you're 20 years old, but you've been doing triathlon so long, you're kind of a veteran, I would say.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
But something that intrigues me is how did you start doing specifically triathlon with all the sports, even more popular ones around?
Yeah, so the thing is, I wanted to do triathlon. I've discovered it when I was around 10 years old, I would say. And I saw some old trophies and stuff from my dad in the basement because he used to do it before as well. And I said, like, Dad, can I do this? And he was like, No, this is too tough of a sport for you. Like, you're gonna be able to do it when you're a bit older, not now. So yeah, I've actually started doing like a lot of different sports. I've done everything. So also like all the classic Slovenian sports like football, handball, basketball, everything of that. I absolutely sucked at every single one of them. I also did some swimming, maybe just like one time a week, so I would know how to swim, but which turned out to be a good base. I also did track and field when I was, let's say, 10, 11 years old. Again, I was dead last at every single competition. So yeah, then when I was 14, no, actually, when I was 12, yeah. When I was 12, I went to the local triathlon club for the summer camp for a week. Yeah, we did some training. It was pretty basic, mostly fun, nothing serious. And yeah, like a week after I started training, I did my first triathlon in Ljubljana, and the week after that in Bled as well. So, and ever since then, that's all I do pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear, and great to hear
Mm.
that you're still sticking with triathlon.
Yeah.
Tell me now, what is your main focus currently? Which distances do you do, and what goals do you have in these distances?
Yeah, so I am racing pretty much everything between super short 18, 19, 20 minute super sprints and all the way to the Olympic distance right now. So this is all the distances that are under World Triathlon short course racing. And my current focus is to climb my way up the world ranking to get as close as possible to the best in the world. And yeah, if that's gonna go well enough to qualify for the Olympics in 4 years' time in Los Angeles.
Okay, that's great to hear. I was gonna put this question next because we just had the Olympics in Paris, and I
Mhm.
was wondering if LA 2028 is one of your goals.
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about LA for, let's say, 6, 7 years now. Maybe since Tokyo, I was like, oh, it's 7 years to Los Angeles. Maybe we can do that. But yeah, for triathlon for Olympics, it's really, really hard to qualify. Like a lot of big guys that even race World Triathlon Championship series, like they don't get an opportunity to race in the Olympics. So yeah, it's a really long way. It's also very expensive to even start qualifying for it because you need pretty much 12 perfect scores, either in World Cups, World Triathlon Championship Series, or just Olympic Distance Continental Cups. But yeah, it is on my mind, and if I am good enough to be in contention for podiums in every single race in 2, 3 years' time, I'll definitely be trying to qualify myself for Los Angeles. Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best already.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And I'm wondering, do you maybe already have a strategy in place in terms of which races you're gonna target and then do, let's say, in the next year, the next 2 years?
Yeah, of course. So, primarily focus for this year. So this year, it is my first elite season. So first year as under 23 and first year as elite. I've done some elite racing the year before, which was my last year in juniors. So yeah, it's quite a big difference between junior racing and elites, and I'm really trying to race as well as I can in elite. Of course, the first race I've done, let's say 2 years ago now, was a big shock, but now I've gotten used to it. It's tough competition pretty much everywhere. But yeah, talking about strategy, of course, it's gonna depend very much on how good I actually am. Because of course, if I am world-class athlete in 3 years' time, then it's not really a problem for them to qualify for the Olympics. It's more of a question what they're gonna race. But yeah, if I will be somewhere there with, let's say, 20 others that are gunning for last 5 spots, it's gonna be crucial that I choose the right races. Um, so yeah, it's mostly Olympic distances that because in World Triathlon, Olympic distance is worth 100% of the points and sprint distance only 75. So that's a huge difference when you take 12 races. So of course, I'll be targeting Olympic distance, Continental Cups, World Cups, and World Championship Series. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And you
Mhm.
mentioned something before about the transition between junior rankings or races
Mhm.
and elite races. What is the biggest difference, or what would you say was the hardest part of this transition for you?
Um, yeah, so I would say like in juniors, you get maybe 2, 3, 4 races a year, of course, championship, European and World Championships, and then some European Cups that are really tough. Everything else is not that difficult. Like you don't have deep fields, you don't have many good runners. So yeah, I would say the swim is pretty much identical, but instead of, let's say, in junior race getting a front group of 8, 10, maybe 15, in elites you get that big group of like maybe 30, 40, and sometimes you have a breakaway and sometimes everything comes together, so just one big pack of racing. And yeah, in juniors, let's say my last season, I was running in European Cups maybe around 16-minute 5K off the bike, which was sometimes it was good enough for fourth, fifth place. Most of the time it was good for 10th. But when you go to elite, everyone's running that. So I would say the biggest difference is that everyone runs extremely fast. And also the bikes are mostly faster, much faster.
Okay, that's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering, everyone who follows triathlon at least a
Mhm.
bit knows that triathlon is not one of the major sports. There's not a lot of money in it. And
Mhm.
those who follow triathlon even more closely know that these shorter distance races are even less, let's say, popular for sponsors and for people to invest money in the athletes. So I'm wondering, now that you're one of the elite athletes, how are you dealing with this part of training and racing? Is it difficult for you to get, let's say, sponsors and all the necessary equipment and, let's say, resources to fund and support your career? Or do you find a way and manage to get through it?
Yeah, I agree. Like it's not that interesting for sponsors, especially I guess in Slovenia. Some of my friends, let's say maybe in Germany, Spain, France, it's a bit, I would say, easier for them to find sponsors because the sport is more mainstream. Also talking about prize money and stuff, I am almost certain it's a lot more money in middle distance and long distance now, especially with T100, Ironman Pro Series Challenge. It's a lot of rankings you can do and get away with pretty good money. But yeah, for short course, if you're not, let's say, top 50, top 80 in the world, it's going to be difficult to actually profit from a race. Yeah. But yeah, regarding sponsors and for myself, I think I'm managing to get like both equipment and some funds to do my season as best as I can. So yeah, it's okay. Of course, the sponsors I have, I'm really grateful for. They're helping me a lot. I get some really good equipment. That's a big yeah, it's good to race on equipment that all the other guys from France and Spain have pretty much the same. So I am on par with them because if I wouldn't have that, then it's really no point in competing. But yeah, the most difficult part is to get sponsors where you can get money from. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, and I hope I will be able to get some in the future so I'll be able to travel more to more races and of course gather more points. But yeah, part of the process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And I also hope you find even more support than you have
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Because obviously, one of the points or one of the reasons why I was asking is exactly this. It doesn't matter, or at least it doesn't matter that much if you're a great triathlete, if the
hmm
equipment is what's holding you back. And that
hmm
is maybe even more prevalent in longer course races where you
yeah,
have all these city bikes and wind tunnels and everything, and you can produce the same power, but if you're not as aerodynamic as someone else, then you're going 2-3 kilometers per hour slower, and
yeah,
there's no way that you can compete with others. But I believe that you'll achieve even more successes in the future and become even more attractive, let's say, for
hmm
the sponsors. And
yeah.
I'm wondering, because you mentioned it before, are you thinking about doing longer distances in the future, like let's say T100 or Ironman Professional Series races?
Yeah, of course. Ever since I grew up, the first race, the first triathlon I saw was Kona. So of course, like every single triathlete, or I hope most of them have a dream of Kona, and that's the same for me. I would really, really love to race there, but I said to myself that I'm doing that race as a professional. So yeah, if I can and if I'll be able to, and if my career takes me there, I would gladly and very much love to race longer course. But yeah, as you said, I could race some 70.3 now as well. I guess I'm good enough prepared for that as well. But yeah, as you said, when you don't have a 15K, 20K bike with all the equipment, you're 10 minutes back immediately. So it's really hard to start doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah.
And you were talking about your past, your performances. I'm wondering, what has, in your opinion, been your biggest success so far?
I think my most successful year was 2 years ago. So I've managed to get third place in junior ranking in Europe, which is a great achievement. So that's 6 races over the whole year. My best 6 races, everything was like in top 5 in European Cups. Yeah, which was really amazing. And in the same year, I've managed to get third at Aquathlon World Champs. Yeah, of course, there was also some results in 2023 and in this season, but I would say third place in Europe and third place at World Champs are still my biggest results. Yeah,
Okay, that's great to hear. Hope you get to repeat these results or even
yeah,
improve them in the next seasons.
I
But
was.
inevitably, you get some setbacks in your career. Or even, let's say, you get those moments when you don't feel the best or you think that you're stuck in a rut. And I'm wondering now, what keeps you going when the things get hard for you?
Yeah, it gets hard, definitely. I agree. Quite often. Sometimes I get to some races where I would like to perform very good, but I fail to do that. It's just some small thing that keeps me away from a good result. Occasionally, of course, not always. Um, and yeah, then I get home and I'm a bit sad, but I think I have a mindset that I'm not racing for every single race, but I'm racing and training for a bigger goal that's like 3, 4, 5 years from now. So even if I fail to achieve something in this moment, I know that I'm on the right path towards something bigger. I think that's the main motivator for me.
Okay, that's a very nice mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically set yourself, let's say, some smaller steps, smaller goals along the way towards
Yeah.
the bigger goal. And
Yeah.
do you ever focus or think about that bigger goal, or you just completely forget about it?
No, no, no. It's always somewhere in the back of my head. Like this is what I'm working for. But let's say if I do some session, I'm thinking about the next closest race. I'm like, yeah, I wanna smash everyone there, and I wanna smash everyone there. But this is all the whole process to me getting somewhere else in 2, 3, 4 years time. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And I'm wondering now, what would you say is your ultimate goal in triathlon?
Yeah, I want to go to the Olympics. I want to do Kona. That's the main two ones. And yeah, and I want to perform there as best as I can. That would be the goal. And yeah, if I make it to the Olympics, to Kona as a professional, that would be pretty much life goals achieved, I would say.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
very nice to hear. And it's nice to hear that you already set those goals.
Hmm.
And as much as I understand, also those shorter term goals.
Hmm.
And you're very dedicated to achieve them.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
we take a step away from triathlon now for a bit to a bit more general or
Mhm.
life questions, I'm wondering what's the one thing that you wanted to do for a long time but just haven't done it yet?
Whoa. I have a box of Legos just in the room next to me that I want to build for a really long time. But yeah, I love building Legos. I have some around my room as well. But that one I just wasn't been able to because I'm always a bit around, or when I'm at home, I need to study. So yeah, but I will do it soon.
Soon. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask, when are you gonna do it? So, what does this soon mean?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe in like 2 weeks' time when I finish the exams or after the seasons, then that's when I have the most time. So yeah,
Okay, that's great to hear.
not a priority now. So when the time comes,
Yeah, obviously.
yeah,
And you mentioned that you're studying. What
yeah.
are you studying?
So this year is my first year in I study economics in University of Ljubljana, Faculty of Economics. And yeah, it's going pretty well, I think. I have a few more exams to finish off my first year. And yeah, it's going well, so I'll continue to do that.
Do you plan to finish the university at the same
Uh,
time as you're trying to qualify for LA?
yeah, I'll see how that goes. And of course, if I get to a point in my career where I can actually say I can do this, I can qualify for Los Angeles. Um, I will probably put that on the side tracks for some time and focus on Olympics, of course. But yeah, so far it's going. I'm coping both with school. I'm doing my trainings as I should. It's not interfering. So yeah, all good so far.
That's great to hear. It's
Yeah.
great to hear that you acknowledge the importance of education because it's always nice to have some sort of education when you finish your sporting career. So you can, let's say, easily find another job if you're not interested in working in the sports industry or
Yeah, I
such.
agree. And also, I think it's really good to have something on the side that it's not triathlon in the head 24/7. That sometimes I need to, oh, I'm going to school as well. I should study a bit, and it's better for the head as well.
That's interesting because one of my next questions is what do you do in your free time? But as far as I understand now, you don't have very much free time, or do you?
Yeah, I do have some free time. So, yeah, after the workout's done, I like to either cook myself a good lunch, meal, whatever, because I really think that's really important as well. Then I just rest. Yeah, either I'm on my phone, I scroll some Strava, maybe read some books, or just browse some stuff that I'm currently interested in. But it's mostly about triathlon, so that's
Okay,
yeah,
that's great to hear.
yeah.
And if you had to eat only one meal for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Oof, that would be really hard. So I either love a really good pizza. I love pizzas, so I eat quite a lot of those. But the thing I love the most is burrito bowls. So I would go with burrito bowls because I can have all the different meats in there, all the different veggies, and I wouldn't get tired of it as soon as everything else.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
I totally agree with pizza because that's also my answer. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering, what kind of a burrito bowl do you make? Because I've never heard of that actually, and I'm wondering what it is and what it's made of.
Yeah, so it's either like the ones they have over in the US, like Chipotle Classic. But yeah, I just make my own version at home quite often. So it's just rice, then some meat. So let's say either beef, mostly it's chicken because it's easiest and fastest to make. And then I just put just different kinds of veggies in there, like some onion, peppers, corn, on what else? Some beans. Yeah, maybe some cheese on top, and it's really good.
That sounds awesome. I
Yeah,
gotta try it. I
yeah,
eat tons of rice basically in every meal, so it's gonna be
yeah,
easy for me to try it.
yeah,
That's
pretty
great.
easy. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what's your guilty pleasure?
Oof, that's a tough one to answer. Um, I would say when I have time and the race is not that close, I love to go to my grandma for a lunch and everything, and I'm stuffed for next 2 days.
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah,
totally understand
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Going to
Slovenian
grand
grandma. Yeah,
Yeah, going to grandmother's house is a
yeah,
blessing.
and it's a lunch, dessert, everything, and I'm good for next few days. Yeah,
And you get some things to pack and take home
yeah,
with you.
yeah, for the way home as well. Yeah,
That's
and next
awesome.
week.
I'm wondering, what's the one thing that annoys you or makes you angry?
Oof. So let's say just in triathlon or in racing, it really annoys me when people are not training or racing with their heads. So let's say I kind of get annoyed, or just before when I used to train in a big group, I really got annoyed with people smashing the first set or the second one and then just dying in the next few. And so yeah, but that was just me like let's say 2, 3 years ago. Now I've gotten used to it. There are people and I just stick to my own plan. That's one thing. And yeah, the other one is just people racing really dangerously, which in short course racing happens really often. And it doesn't make sense for anyone. It's dangerous for them, for us, and yeah, it really annoys me.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I don't do short course racing, I do middle distances,
Mhm.
and we're lucky in that aspect because it's non-drafting and you don't get so many close calls as you do in sprints and
Yeah.
Olympics. But even in 70.3s, when you try to pass other people, it's
Yeah. I heard
sometimes
about
very
that.
dangerous because they keep swirling left and right, and
Mhm.
you will never know if you're gonna hit them or what the hell is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, if you had to enforce one rule for the entire world, which one would it be?
20-meter draft rule.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering how would that work, let's say on the roads and on the pavements and in the parks? Would all the people have to stand 20 meters between each other, or how would that
I
work?
meant mostly for triathlon, but that wouldn't be bad either, I think. Because I
Oh,
also
so,
don't like when I'm sitting on a bench and someone I don't know sits next to me. So would be nice. I think everyone would have more peace.
yeah, I kind of agree with that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what is one thing that you want to achieve in life?
Oh. So without sports, yeah, I'd like to finish school. I think that's really important for me, finish uni. Maybe not only bachelor's degree, maybe some more. Um, and yeah, and I think it would be really nice to, when I'm older, to have a family, to settle down somewhere, uh, and just live life in peace.
Okay, that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
And being to all sorts of races and visiting all sorts of countries, I suppose you had a lot of experience with traveling around. And I'm wondering which is the nicest place that you visited so far.
Well, that's a really tough one to pick, because every place, I mean, majority of places, not everything, they're really pretty in their own way. But yeah, if I had to choose one, I would go somewhere a bit warmer than Slovenia because the winters get a bit too cold. It's raining too much. I don't like the snow that much as well. So yeah, if I had to choose one place, I would go maybe Spain for the winter, and for the summer, I would go back to Alps somewhere, maybe even Slovenia, just a bit up more north.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice. And I think that is a great place to steer this conversation towards the end slowly. And at the end, I let my guest leave a question for the next guest on the show. My previous guest was Ben Stern. He's a professional triathlete from the US, and he wants to know what kind of advice do you have for somebody who is new in their professional career, which is a
In
bit
their
strange
professional career.
because, yeah, you're
Yeah.
basically new in their professional career, but he wants to know it in the way, let's say, what do you wish you knew when you got started as a professional in triathlon?
So I am starting now pretty much as a professional. So I would say the results might not be there the first year, first 2 years, but if you keep going, if you have your mind on the goal where you want to be, and yeah, it's really important you don't compare yourself, let's say, out of the first one to Christian Blumenfeld. There's no point in that. I think you should compare yourself to you 2 months ago, half a year ago, a year ago, and just see how you're progressing. And even if you had a shit race, you think about it and just try to find all the best bits, what you did great, but also think about those where you maybe made a mistake and try to keep that in your head for the next time so you either don't do the same mistakes over and over again. And yeah, that you know that you're improving compared to you half a year ago. I think that would be my tip. Take it easy and keep your brain on.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that's great advice. I
Yeah.
hope that many people listen to it. And what is your question for the next guest on the show?
Ooh. Hmm. I would like to hear a favorite race. What is someone's favorite race and why?
Okay, that's an
Yeah,
interesting question, and I'm looking forward to hearing the answer.
good.
Anyway, it was very nice to talk with you, Ul. It was a pleasure. I think you said a lot of interesting things, and I'm wondering where can people follow you, your journey to LA 2028,
So
and then
I
later to
am,
Kona.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all. And yeah, I am on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook as well. Not that active, but I am on there because I need to be. I'm also on YouTube, so yeah, pretty much all the socials, same username. And I try to be active on everything as much as I can.
Okay, that's great. I'm gonna put all those links into the show notes so people will have no trouble finding you.
Thank you so
So,
much.
like I said, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best at the end of this season and then in preparation for the next season.
Perfect. Thank you so much.